Hey, everybody. Jeff Reed here, founder of the Church Digital, doing a stream here, hanging out with my friends here in the Church Digital podcast or the Church Digital community fam. Hey, Stacy, how you doing? Wanted to just jump on a stream here. Simon logging in from Germany. It's 6, 7 o'clock at night. Simon, hope dinner's going well in Germany. Simon actually was on the Church Digital podcast just this week. Episode 284, I think. We were talking digital church planting and some of the lessons that Simon is learning over in Germany. And so, Simon, it was great to hang out with you. If you haven't checked out the podcast, check out the Church Digital /podcast or find it on YouTube as well. Lots of insights. And what I didn't realize about Simon is that he is quite the long distance hiker, runner guy. Like I can't do stuff like that. I mean, quite literally. I can't do, there's no way. I was doing half marathons and that was fun. 13 miles, that was like my limit. Trying to get to a full marathon, was it 26 miles, whatever that is, that was beyond me. And so Simon, hats off with everything you're doing. But check out that podcast, the Church Digital podcast on that for the episode. Simon talking about the digital church planting church he's doing, Beta Church, and also the network that he started in Germany that we were actually able to help. I guess resource is the right word. Excited to come alongside Simon with that. Mark jumping on the stream on Andrew as well. Andrew, man, we need to catch up. I feel like I've been seeing you and getting emails and stuff, and I've not been doing a good job following up. So that's on me. But Andrew, thanks for jumping on here. Hey, Stacy, definitely recognize that you are heading into church, the continual person doing church. I love Imagine Church, the digital church that Stacy's actively a part of, and just this desire to recognize the potential to disciple somebody in digital space. Excited to see what some of the stuff Gerald's been working on as well, and just seeing all sorts of excitement. Oh my gosh, I'm literally blanking on the name of the Discord channel right now. I mean, literally, it's like right here on the tip of my tongue, and for whatever reason, I can't pull it up. But excited even to see how Gerald's been experimenting with some of the things that he's been doing in that space. And so, that's what I love about this idea of digital churches right now in 2024 is the idea of experimenting and knowing that hey, we don't have all the answers. We don't know what's going on, but there's an opportunity to do something different. I sat down with I'm not going to say the name of the organization, but it's a globally recognized. Hey, Contagious Bakali, Contagious, you need to meet Simon. Two of you need to connect. I'm putting words on this right now. I owe an email to both of you. We need to talk. But I was talking with a globally recognized Christian organization. That honestly we're just trying to work with, and that is they have an intentional digital strategy that is strongly focused towards making disciples. And so but what's interesting is, like, when I talk with the organization, it always feels like they're anti-digital, but they have an intentional digital strategy. And I say things like, well, you're really not digital friendly, and the organization, some of the friends and leaders in the organization, like they don't take offense like that, where they're like yelling at me, but they're like, what do you mean we don't have a digital strategy? Like we're anti-digital, we're pro-digital, we do all this stuff in digital space. And so, like, literally it took hours of conversation to just dig in here and realize, hey, y'all, you have a Web 1 strategy. Web 1.0, where you're utilizing digital to inform. The next challenge for you would be a Web 2 strategy, where you're leaning into the community aspects. You're recognizing social media and the ability to create digital community. But even above that, within that digital community, you can do discipleship. And it's interesting, as I talked with this globally recognized organization and challenged them on digital space, I really did realize this is the challenge of the church today. And even as I see Mark in here, and the stuff that he's doing with Lux, it's recognizing this idea of how discipleship can happen in digital space. And I've I've known the stories, and Mark can tell you stories out of Lux Digital Church about how discipleship is happening using tools like Discord. And with this organization, we started talking about how, they've got this digital strategy, and they were driving discipleship to happen in physical space. They were not comfortable discipling people digitally. And I started asking questions like, well, what would it look like if you did disciple someone digitally? And that, to be honest, that put some of them in a comfortable spot because they were not comfortable with this idea of discipling digitally, reaching people. They arguably have, and this is not, it's not he gets us, but this is arguably one of the largest missional organizations, missional focused evangelism organizations online in America, if not globally. And they were comfortable with the missional implications. They're comfortable with the mission field. They're comfortable with passing information about Jesus. But were they comfortable with discipleship? And that's where there's an opportunity to do something more. And so people like you all that are out there, watching here in the stream live, Stacy with Imagine, Simon, contagious doing what he's doing in Eastern Europe and beyond, Mark, what he's doing for gamers, Stuart, what he's getting into and expanding in virtual reality. You're reaching a different person. And digital discipleship is going to be key. Making relationships that exist in digital space using digital tools is going to be key. This organization, that when I was talking to them, I said, well, is this digital strategy working? And it was funny. There were 3 people in the room. One was quiet. One said yes. One said no. It was so funny. And I was like, well, explain the yes part. It's like, yeah, we're reaching people. And I said, well, let me make a prediction right here. You're reaching 40s and 50s. And you're reaching 40s and 50s pretty well, but you're not the 20s, Gen Z, you're not reaching. And the guy who said no said, that's exactly right. We're not reaching the people we want to, the younger generation. And I was like, well, yeah, because in your funnel, in your strategy, in your path, I got to find a new word because Barbara Carnero doesn't like the word funnel. And so I'm trying, out of respect, I'm not going to say funnel anymore. I've got to figure out what the language I do need to say is. But whatever that process is, they were asking too big of an ask with a K, too big of an ask too quickly. It was, we want to get people from a YouTube video to a face-to-face conversation on Zoom. And it's like, okay, a 50-year-old may trust you with that because they give trust a little easier digitally than a 22-year-old will. But you've got to find the ability to, I use the phrase boil the frog slowly, warm that relationship, get deeper with a person in digital. You've got to be comfortable building a disciple-making relationship in digital space, maybe even using asynchronous tools without face-to-face. Well, Jeff, we are digitally friendly. We use Zoom. This has been Zoom, but you understand what I'm saying. But the point is still in place that they were not doing it. They were not comfortable engaging digital because Zoom is the closest thing to face-to-face can be. And there is a time for Zoom, but it's not out of the bat. It's not out of the gate, and it takes time. It's one of the reasons I love what Twitch is doing. Twitch gives you the opportunity to stream one way and to build a relationship with the people that are watching the streams. That's why I love what Discord is doing, because you've got the ability to develop these relationships via asynchronous tools. Just recently, we talked with Aaron Sinif, the CEO. I almost gave him a raise again. The CTO, Chief Technical Officer of PushPay. And he was going on and on about how the church needs to utilize Slack. Like, what would a church look like that was utilizing Slack? I don't know if you caught that, Mark, by the way. Mark, I totally told him all about what you were doing at Lux, and he's a gamer. I sent him the link, and he actually may be weaving in and out of there. I don't know. He says he's got like 3 or 4 accounts. He's maybe a ghost in your system right now. But the fact is that this is the new frontier, asynchronous, for the church. If we can get churches to stop streaming, wrong word, if we can get churches to add asynchronous to the streaming process, to move beyond, that's what I wanted to say, to move beyond streaming as the only option and recognize the opportunity to disciple people digitally, Could you imagine what the church could look like? There's an interesting stat, and this is something I'm working on for Resi, and we're going to be digging into this, I think, April or May. I'll get behind the scenes a little bit here. I started talking with Crossroads Church, Cincinnati, Ohio. They were all over during COVID, all over the place, really expanding and setting the example of what digital could be. They were doing a great job, kind of leading out and resourcing a lot of churches in that season. And Matt Welty is the essentially the digital guy, the CTO guy over there. Like he's very smart, very complicated, very wise, and they've done within their church, and they've got campuses all over Ohio. They're doing tons of stuff online. They understand discipleship, and Matt was giving me some stats. He says, Jeff, we've actually figured out they're a physical church. They're a physical first church, multiple campuses, mega gigachurch. 10, 15, I mean, I'm putting numbers, 10, 15,000, easy. He says, Jeff, we've actually have discovered, and he showed me the science behind this. Jeff, we've discovered that within our church, the people who attend online as well as physical. Jeff, nobody can attend physical 4 days a week, 4 weeks a month. We don't do that anymore. But the people that attend physical only, compared to the people that attend physically as well as online, what we found is that the online attenders, the online physical attenders, the mixed, the true hybrid people are showing a higher level of discipleship than those that are just attending physically. As we're talking about what discipleship, did that make sense? The people that are truly recognizing hybrid, that are embracing in digital as well as physical, that are leaning into digital discipleship, digital relationships, digital community, as well as attending the physical church on Sunday, that are recognizing the holistic digital and physical relationship. Some would call that digital, don't kill me. But that person is exuding a deeper level of discipleship by Crossroads standards, by the church's standards, than what a person who is only attending physical shows, on average. Yeah, if we're talking about the opportunity for discipleship and recognizing what digital can be for discipleship, do you need anything else other than that? I mean, let's not even talk about the people that you're going to reach that are not even going to the building. The people that are in your building are going to be better as a result of it. And as a result of this, guys, this is why we need you. Gals, this is why we need you on these lines. Because you are literally paving the way for the future church. It's interesting. Yesterday, I've said this stat, this quote, a dozen times in the past month. Easy. Pioneers get shot. Settlers get rich. As I look at the churches that are represented here and trying to figure out what's next, where are we going? How do we make dollars and cents make sense? I mean, to be honest, I've even had that little T trauma crisis in my life over the past 6, 8, 10 months. How do I make the dollar? How do I pay my mortgage? How do I do this stuff? What does funding look like? Yeah, we're all struggling with this. Pioneers get shot. Today's not the day for monetization, or maybe it's coming soon. Maybe it's right around the corner. I don't know what this looks like for us individually. But I can tell you from a bivocational ministry standpoint, the ministry that you are doing now, the lessons that you are learning, the stories that are being told and that are being championed and being passed on to others is going to revolutionize the church in the future. Hey, Jeff, how you doing? And so as easy it is for us to be discouraged, I am. As easy as it is for us to be overwhelmed, as easy as for us to think that it's time to give up, it's time to move on, that nobody cares. There's this guy in Miami that's talking into a camera that cares. There's an organization with theChurch.digital that cares. I don't know that we've got the answers to all things. We're trying to figure out what ends up even on our side. But I want to encourage you to find friends, find accountability, find resources, find people
find partnerships, it's funny, I've got a text group. I don't even know where my phone is. Oh, it's over. It's out of my reach. I've got a text group on my phone. It's literally, it's called Chat That'll Get You Fired. I'm not going to tell you the people that are on it. Nobody that's in TCD's in it. Nobody on this chat's in it. But it's 4 guys that I can get real with. And there's very little that I don't tell them. The negative thoughts, dark thoughts, and they do the same with me. Like we work through it together. God, you called me to do this. How am I supposed to pay the bills? I don't understand. God, you're in control of all things, yet I'm such an invalid at this point at 46 so that I need to use a cane. God, this isn't the happiness that I was expecting. You know, it's interesting, as I've gone through some of life's questions and challenges in recent months, I've actually found that the negative side of me was more focused on me. I'm not saying this for everybody. I'm not saying this for you. If you think I'm talking to you directly, this is me talking to myself. But I found that the negative aspects of me in the dark places were very me focused. And to be honest, the stress and the strain of the little T traumas blocked my view of God. It did. Honestly, it's something that I still am struggling and working through. God provides grace. God provides so much, and I'm so thankful for Him in His life, in my life. And I know that if He's got me to this point at 46, I cannot wait to see what He's got me at 50 and 56 and moving on. I can't believe He got me to this point. But that's just it with God, right? I hate this saying that the journey is the reward. I really do. I'm an achiever. I'm a type A guy. And so often, I can remember when I was in my teens and early 20s, if you would have told me at 21, this is what I would be doing 25 years later, 46, I would have said you're crazy. There's nothing about me at 21 that was equipped to handle the stuff that I'm doing right now. And I remember saying the prayer, God, just tell me where you want me to be. Literally, I was walking up the stairs of my church, First Baptist Church of Perrine here in Miami, Florida at the time. I was walking from the bottom floor up to the balcony, probably to do something with AD. But I remember saying this prayer as I'm walking up the stairs. God, I'm a stupid man. Just tell me what you want me to do so I can do it. Give me a picture, give me a vision of where I'm going so that I can follow you in making it happen. And it was interesting. He didn't give me a picture. I really got mad at him in my 20s. And I did some things. For those, I started my first .com right about that time, 21, 22, ebeliever.com, ran 40,000 people in an online community. Before Facebook was Facebook, talk about bleeding edge stuff. I owned a Christian bookstore. I owned a clothes shop. Jeff's actually, if you're looking at his logo, NOTW, that's actually one of the brands that we worked with C28. And we saw 100 people come to Christ in a brick and mortar store, basically Hot Topic. Saw 100 kids accept Christ and get into disciple making relationships. It's beautiful, West Palm Beach. Spent about 15 years working for different churches and different careers. Had this passion to start theChurch.digital, recognizing that churches didn't understand digital, much less discipleship, and which evolved into digital church planting very quickly. Thank you very much, Stadia, for recognizing and growing that vision within me. And as much as I hate the saying of the journey is the reward in my life, because I'm an achiever, I'm not patient, and I just want to get to the finish line so that I can be done. God doesn't work that way. At least maybe He doesn't in your life, but He doesn't for me. It's the lessons that I learn along the way, the patience that He makes me feel, the trials that I have to go through and overcome, the lessons that I have to learn from the people that I don't even know or not even aware exist. That's the times that I really see him move. And I want to just say this to those of you that are on the stream, because there's some very influential people that God is using right now watching this. As difficult as this season is of casting vision, getting approval, getting recognition, getting financing, recognize that God is doing something through you today that is going to help to settle us of tomorrow. We're getting shot so that the next generation, when I say get rich, let's move beyond the money, can recognize the ministry benefits, can recognize the evangelical push, the missional implications, can recognize how to use digital in ways beyond what the church recognizes today. So at a personal level, I want to thank you. By the way, when I jumped on the stream today, this is not what I wanted to talk about. Yet I've been doing this for about 20 minutes now on this. I have no scripts. This is completely just off the cuff. Evidently, this is what Twitch guys do, right? I normally script stuff a lot more than this. But I want to thank you for taking the bullets. I want to thank you for dysentery. If you remember the Oregon Trail, Terry died of dysentery. Feel bad for dysentery. Feel bad for the guy getting sick. But I do, as the pioneers, if you didn't get the joke to all that, pioneering, it was a bad joke. As the pioneers, you're taking lumps. Thank you for taking lumps. Keep going, pushing, striving, getting out there, seeking God in the journey, recognizing the reward is not for you today. It's interesting. I'm like literally on the verge of crying right now, but I'm really trying not to. Simon in the podcast that literally is published this week. I think there's a clip of this on Shorts. But he said, because we're talking about what he's doing in Germany, and man, I'm super excited about what he's doing in Germany. And so Simon says to me, Jeff, you were the inspiration. I mean, maybe I'm putting words in his mouth. You can go back and look quick. But Jeff, you were the inspiration behind this. A lot of the work that you were doing in digital church inspired us on another continent with reaching people that speak a different language in a different time zone. It inspired us to utilize this, to start Beta Church, to start this German digital church network. And that was enough for me to do it another day. As I look at what some of you guys are doing in your spaces, Mark Gaming, Andrew, Africa, Contagious, Eastern Europe, I can steward Metaverse, Stacy, the regions, and Stacy's pioneering a whole thing with remote, crisis and dealing with people in crisis. The crisis isn't the right word. It's the other word I can't think of right now, but essentially crisis. Sorry, Stacy. I need to know your language. I'm just blinking. As I look at what you all are doing, pioneering in those spaces, find the Pauls that can mentor you. And this is so important from a multiplication standpoint. Find the Timothys that you can mentor. The lessons that you're learning cannot die with you. They have to get passed on to the next generation. This was always my vision for the Church Digital. This is why we're involving, the guys like Andy and Leighton Flatcap and JMO and even working with the movement leaders that are on the stream and otherwise. It was never about me. The ideas always had to be bigger than me. The Church Digital always needed to multiply. That's how the ideas spread. Seth Godin's one of the top marketing guys. You guys have heard me tell this story, I'm sure, but Seth Godin's one of the top marketing guys in the planet right now. He's written 40 books, New York Times bestseller. He's not Christian. Purple Cow, Loser. Like there's so much knowledge that he's got. He's got a podcast called Akimbo, 2019, somewhere probably November, December. Somebody, ironically, this guy's in Turkey. Seth Godin's not a Christian, by the way. I think I said that. But Seth Godin podcast is called Akimbo, Akimbo. Somebody in Turkey sent in a question for Seth, ironically from Turkey. Seth's in New York City, and asked Seth, hey, how do I get my message heard around the world? How do I get my message heard around the world? Now think of the irony. The guy's in Turkey sending a message to Seth, who's doing a podcast. So right there, that's multiple continents. Seth's got a national podcast. And literally, this message is heard around the world. The question is asked, how do I get my message heard around the world? You're laughing, hopefully. But Seth's response was beautiful. Seth's response, simply put, was 1 billion people don't give a crap. I'm assuming, and inserting crap, but 1 billion people don't care about anything you have to say. We're such a bifurcated society. There's no way that 1 billion people are going to be able to connect. It's not about that. It's not about the billion. It's not about getting a single message heard. This is from Seth Godin. He's written 40 books, New York Times bestseller, top marketing guy in the country. If you're talking, if not planet, if you're talking about people with global influence, this is the guy. And the guy with the global influence is saying, there's no way to get 1 billion people to buy into what you have to say. It's not about reaching that person. It's not about reaching 1 billion people. It's about reaching an individual. He would go on to say, if you want to get a message heard around the world, it's about reaching an individual, a single person. Getting that person to hear the message, understand the message, getting that person to tell the message to someone else. It's about multiplication. And that's why what Mark's doing in gaming, nerd culture, heck yeah, we need to. Because the brick and mortar church is not reaching the gamers and the nerds as a general rule. But maybe we can do something to reach them. Now, Mark can sit on that knowledge all he wants. But Mark's smarter than that. He's looking at how to connect with others, which is why he started the Ministry Collective, Nerd Culture Ministry Collective, NCMC. I think I'm using your acronyms right. And that's why he's doing the podcast, where he's passing these ideas on to others. Because he wants to see not his single church, Lux, but he wants to see a movement happen in the gaming space. We're also recognizing that Tsunami is going to reach people through vector and through virtual reality, a different type of person in VR than even what's being reached in gaming. And we're recognizing that the German culture is completely different than the American culture. And what we're going to reach with Simon globally is completely different than what is going to happen, than what we can do digitally through the US, do like maybe what Stacy's doing. Now, yes, there are some examples where Imagine Church can go internationally and globally, and we can see some of that happen. But as a general rule, what if we like equipped native people to reach native people? Like this is missional 101. It's interesting. I had a conversation with the lady. Actually, Stu, I want to follow up with you. I don't know what's going on with this relationship. I just remembered the story. I can't remember the lady's name. But she reached out to me maybe a year or so ago. And she said, hey, she's at a physical church. And actually, the church is part of a denomination or a network. And I want to say it's in South Africa. And she says to me, she says, Jeff, I want to, hey, Stefan. She says, Jeff, I want to start a virtual reality church network in South Africa. I've got my whatever rector, whatever the person was that needed to approve it. I've got my high-level leader within the church ready to do it. We're all excited. We're going to make this thing happen. And she says, Jeff, what I really want to ask you to do is to come be the face of this, because you know virtual reality ministry so well. I just written the book. You know virtual reality ministry so well. We want you to be the face of this South African virtual reality Metaverse Church Network. And I looked at this. It's honest to God truth. It was like, it's South Africa, so it's 8 hours difference. She's like in the dark. It's 1 o'clock my time. I can remember it's like hard to see her. And I told this lady equivocatively, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard in my life. That was what I was saying. It's like, I don't know crap about South Africa. I don't know how the culture works. I don't know the people. I don't know the churches. Like, that's the wrong play. You don't want me to be the face of the South African church network. I want to help you become the face of your South African Metaverse virtual reality church network. And it was interesting, through the lamplight, because it was late at night, at her desk, I saw her start to cry. Like, this is an honest to God truth. She's like, you would do that? It's like, of course, because I'm not going to be able to reach people in South Africa like you're going to be able to reach people in South Africa. Like, you're going to be able to network and find the people in South Africa. And so if you really want to utilize metaverse tools to reach people within that context, this ain't the face. That's the heart behind what we're trying to do at the Church Digital. Multiply these ideas out. And so as much as you guys and gals are working hard to get your ideas established, I want to challenge you to not focus on just your single, but to figure out and find the people that you can mentor, that you can multiply, that you can start and send off. Maybe it's competing, maybe it's complementing, maybe it's reaching somebody else different than what you're doing in a different subculture. Now listen, the idea of multiplication is completely, is antithetical the right word? It's completely against common theory. Is it better to have a 1 million person church or 100,000 churches of 10? Average person's going to say 1 million person church. I've actually been asked to be not a lead pastor, but to be a pastor of a church that wanted to be a 1 million person church. Literally, they wanted to be the largest church in the globe, all digital. And once again, I had the blessing to tell that group, that's a stupid idea. Because 1 million people don't care about anything you have to say. So those of you that have stuck with me for 30 minutes listening to this rant, as you're struggling financially to make ends meet because you're bucking a system that goes against the buildings, that goes against the established norms, in trying to find funding when it costs so little to actually do what you're doing, life gets hard. I am praying for you because I'm on that road with you. And I pray that God does something within us all so that we can recognize the rewards of this journey on this side of the kingdom and on the other side as well. Find people to multiply into. Find the people that you are literally discipling to be the next generation of church. I really do believe this. If we are faithful in that, God will be faithful to provide for us what we're looking for. The humility of laying it down, not building self, but instead building others. At least in my life, I believe that's the ego that God is using to keep me in check. You know, I've talked about, actually, I don't know that I've talked about this publicly. I can never remember what I've said. The cane that I walk with, it's not in this room. My dog's asleep on the bed, like right over there. But aside from that, usually it's a cane there. That's the thorn in my side right now. Paul talks about God put a thorn in. They think it was his literal limp. They think he was crippled at some point in his ministry life. You guys are biblically smarter than I, so you'll know the deeper story than I do on that. But that thorn is my side, that crutch is my thorn. That cane is my thorn. I've actually got a really cool one. One of them, both of them are like, I've got three. One's red, one's black. They're like Walgreens specials, which you normally buy for like 30 bucks. They're collapsible. They're utilitarian. I've got one cane that's it's Ukrainian wood, and it's got this. It looks like it's a ball on top, so it looks like it's completely normal, like ball. And it's dark wood, Ukrainian, nice. It was like 50 bucks. My mother-in-law gave it to me for Christmas. But when you actually look at what the ball is, it's the Death Star. It's got like the little cutout for the what is it? The little conic section that's missing where it shoots where the radar satellite dish shoots the death ray or whatever. And it's got some interweaving in it to like show the trenches and stuff. And so like it's really okay. Like I'm geeking out. It's kind of cool. But these canes, I've actually Googled in Amazon. They make such a thing as a smart cane that's like GPS wired and has built-in speakers, so you can Bluetooth. I guess they do that for like old people with Alzheimer's, so they don't get lost when they're walking with their cane. I'm not that bad, but that cane is a constant reminder for me of my humility, to keep my ego in check. I pray that God keeps us in check. I don't know what that means for you. I don't know what the element is or the people are or who accountability is for each of you. But I pray in the season that God brings it to you. I pray that he answers your questions and that you are, it's interesting, my pastor said recently in a message on prayer, he says, when we pray, God either answers the prayer yes, or he gives you the strength to endure the no. It really challenged me. I don't know that I'd ever thought about it that cleanly and that concisely. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't agree. You can put it in the chat, let me know. You all are family. As I look at the people on the screen, even the ones that I don't talk with regularly, Contagious, as an example, man, I pray for you regularly. Gerald, so excited to see the stuff that's coming up with you. Andrew, man, from afar, I've been excited about your passion. And it's even I was actually trying to get Leighton to connect with you because I was in between some things. Jeff, I'm excited to see your passion as you're kicking up and doing this new stuff. I mean, the other guy, everybody else on here, the majority of people know me pretty well. You all are family. And so know if there's anything that the Church Digital can do to support your ministry, to help your ministry, all you have to do is let us know. We want to see the next generation of digital churches succeed. We want to see digital discipleship explode. And for that to happen with validity here in America and beyond, we need success from you all, which means it's very important for us that you guys succeed. The organization is literally built to help you in that. Let us know how we can. Let us know what your needs are. Let us know what the challenges are. Let us know whether it's Flat Cap, myself, Andy. Bernie's in a season where he's stressed out and running around, but let us know how we can help, or what your challenges are, and maybe we can brainstorm a solution together, or network, or find a way to make it happen through the contacts that we have. That's our heart with the Church Digital, to create a network where we can see networks of digital churches happen in Germany, in Europe, in Africa, in Metaverse, in insert blank here, gaming. Look around this room. You are the future. I mean, whether the U.S. church wants to admit it or not, whether funding organizations want to admit it or not, you are the future of the church. Even if it's a digital discipleship hybrid model, you are the future. The building, well, it's just not quite broken yet. But if we look at what's happening in Eastern Europe, if we look at what's happening in Germany, in England, in Australia, we recently just had a conversation with Australia. well, the buildings mean a lot less over there. Hey, I want to do this. I just got a flat cap. I don't even think flat cap's on here. No, he's not. That's cool. I want to wrap up with this. I got an email from our friends over at New Thing today. Leighton, it's actually sent to Leighton, and it was from Amanda, who I believe is still the regional director of New Thing in Australia. Amanda has been a very strong supporter of the Church Digital Church Network, Digital Church, Digital Discipleship. Like as we're talking about people that are drinking the Kool-Aid and don't want anything to do with the Kool-Aid, Amanda as a person has been drinking the Kool-Aid. And so Amanda sent a prayer request upstream to the Church Digital, and or sent a email prayer upstream to the Church Digital. And I want to take a moment and I want to read this prayer because I think it's for the Church Digital. I think it's for us as leaders, but this is literally the prayer that I believe that this woman in Australia was praying for you. Hey, when we were praying right now, I got a strong sense that the digital church is in a liminal space. And I saw God's strong hand holding digital church. I'm reading this verbatim. This is literally copy paste. I saw God's strong hand holding digital church. It was like God wanted to reassure them that he has their whole worlds in the palm of his hands. And he wants them to rest in that, to breathe deeply and simply hold this space while God works. The words "be faithful" came to my heart, and also the words of Psalms 119, 105 came to mind. Could you please pass this on to them and encourage them? She would go on to say, I don't know what's happening within Digital Church right now, even the slightest, but felt like I needed to share. Sorry. That email got forwarded 3 times before it got to me. Just going through the chain of command, food, grapevine kind of thing. You're being prayed for. You're being loved on. You may not even know who Amanda Sayers is in another continent. She's praying for you. Grab onto the reward of this journey. Find it. Multiply that into others. And let's start a movement of digital church. All right, y'all. I went way longer than I wanted to. Thank you for this time. Let me pray for us, and we're going to wrap. Feel free to reach out to me directly if there's any questions or follow-up on this specifically. I love you all. Heavenly Father, God, I look at this room and the people that are in here and the passion that they have for seeing you move in digital space and in metaverse space. God, I know these ideas are radical, but God, we've been challenged everything short of sin for the kingdom. And so, God, we are taking that literally, reinterpreting culture, reimagining what church could be, and trying to stay true to your biblical mandates in a different culture and in different environments. God, it's a hard road. It's a hard journey. I want to pray for the people that are on these front lines, the men and women that are watching this right now. God, do something in their individual ministries to remind them that you are there. Whether it's this soft, quiet voice, the loud, booming voice, the writing on the wall. God, you move so eloquently through Scripture. Move in the lives of these people in the hours and the days to come. Give them encouragement for the road that they are on. Point them in the direction of people they can be multiplying these ideas into, that can help carry the load at a higher level, if not even multiply that load to reach a different type of person in their community space. God, keep our egos and our hearts in check. As pioneers, it's so easy for us to fall into the me trap. Help us to not fall victim to that lie. Help us to not be distracted by Satan's voice. In all things, God, in all things, help us to continue to find you in our ministry day in and day out. And help us to be grounded on that truth of who you are and how you move, even in digital space. Thank you for the encouragement of Amanda here via email. And thank you for the encouragement that each and every one of the people in this stream have in my life directly. We love you, Father. Thank you for loving us and using us the way that you do. In your name I pray. Amen. All right, guys, I was supposed to talk about some other stuff, and to be honest, all of it is completely irrelevant at this time. I love you all. If there's anything I can do for your journey, all you have to do is ask. Hit me up. But I'm going to go. See y'all next week. Actually, you know what? Hey, you know what? Pray for this. Exponential is next week. And looking at this room, there's going to be a lot of us that are going to be heading to Expo. I'm actually not. I'm taking this year off. I've done 5 or 6 expos in a row, I think. And so I'm going to be speaking in Dallas at a push pay event. And so I'm not going to be there. But those of you that are going to Expo, rock out, have a great time, enjoy life. Be praying for the people at Expo next week as they're finding some of that same discerning and calling, and even championing as we're championing Digital Church and the breakouts and things that are happening there. I'm excited. Really, I'm excited to see what God is doing through Expo digitally. Like we started something that's even continuing on, and that's awesome. So hey, hit me up with any questions. We may be streaming next week. These guys are the guys. Andy and Flatcap are going to be out there. JMO's going to be there as well, and so they're going to probably stream in between stuff here and there here through. Yeah. But love you. I'm going to hang up. It's been great. Have a good one. Appreciate y'all. See you soon.